When I went through this process of healing, I realized I spent more time hating myself than actually loving myself. Hello, lovely. You are listening to the Love Life with Court show, and as always, I'm your host, Courtney. If this is your first time tuning into the pod, well, welcome to the family, and if not, here's a warm welcome back. Without further ado, let's get started on today's episode. Hello, love, and welcome back to another episode. I hope you're having an amazing day. If you are just struggling with making self-love tangible, like where some people say, oh, you just need to love yourself, and you just don't even know where to start, you've tuned into a few of the episodes that I've already put out and just are struggling with this entire concept, that's what we're going to be exploring today. And I'm so excited that you are here because we are talking about what is stopping you from loving yourself. So as I said, people who say you just need to love yourself don't understand trauma. And our most common response that I think when someone used to say that to me is, thank God someone told me this. Oh, thank God. Now I love myself. I'm cured. I'm healed. But it really isn't that simple. It's like when someone tells you, oh, just chill out, take a chill pill. Well, thank God you told me that because now I'm so chill. It never really works, right? And if anything, when we are told things like, well, you just need to love yourself, it makes you feel inadequate of doing so, which continues the cycle of feeling like you're not able to love yourself and not knowing where to start. So where we're going to kind of first dive into our episode is understanding that our inability to love ourselves is not as surface level as it seems, but it's more correlated to the damage done from childhood trauma to our nervous system and our psyche and our immune system and our ability to stay conscious under stress. So really, like all of the components where a lot of people start their healing journey in terms of connecting with your emotions and your emotional responses and your nervous system, doing breath work, all of the type of stuff, that needs to be the foundation of where self-love is going to stem from, and being able to respond to certain situations where you're not just immediately attacking your inner self and yourself. So this is where we need to start to be able to even build a sense of self, is connecting with our nervous system, our psyche, our ability to stay conscious during certain situations. Because if you're familiar with trauma, disassociating is the most common response. And when you're able to build a sense of self, it can lead to things like increased confidence, which results in the ability to love yourself. When I went through this process of healing, I realized I spent more time hating myself than actually loving myself. So saying, oh, I just need to love myself felt so out of touch, as I felt quite the opposite the duration of the time when I was first starting my healing journey, and really for a large majority of my life. Let's dive into where this cycle stems from. This cycle of unhealed trauma is most often reflected and visible in the relationships that you have with others, based on attracting those that you believe you are deserving of, or a reflection of your current state and alignment with yourself. And let's dive into that a little bit more to understand kind of where I'm coming from with that. So it's kind of like this cycle of unhealed trauma is a continuous reflection of where our self-love is at. So what happens is when you have unhealed trauma, typically your self-love is pretty low. And when you are aligned with this frequency of really low vibrations, you don't have a lot of confidence, you don't really feel good about yourself, you don't believe that you are deserving of anything good, that is what you attract. You attract the people that are going to confirm that for you. And then it's like this continuous cycle of maybe you begin the healing, but you're surrounded by people who want to bring you down, who want to keep you where you're at, keep you at that low vibration. So it's this really never-ending cycle. And that's where when a lot of people begin their healing work, they realize that there's a lot of disconnections in relationships that need to happen in order to really grow and heal. Where it often goes most unnoticed with this unhealed trauma is your relationship with yourself as well. So it's easy to look at your external environment and realize, oh yeah, well, that person's not really serving me. This person really hasn't made me feel good in a long time. But like I said, where it often goes most unnoticed in terms of this unhealed trauma is your relationship with yourself. And this is most correlated to a block you have from childhood stemming from your attachment to parental influence. So if you're familiar with attachment styles, from a young age, a very young age, we build an attachment style with our parents, or whatever kind of parental influence that we have. And the most common, or the top three, are an avoidant attachment style, an anxious attachment style, and a secure attachment style. Now, for the people that are just so lucky and have the best life ever, just kidding. But for some people, they do have a secure attachment style. And that means that there's an equal balance in between this avoidant and anxious attachment. So avoidant, you kind of think of, you stay back. These are the people that really you can't get too close to. I get a little glimpse of that side of them where they really love you and they have a lot of, really good qualities, but it's really hard to see that. And anytime that they start to get close, they want to stay back. And the anxious attachment style, so where we have avoidant, which is stay back, anxious is that lean in. So you always are chasing, you always want to chase that love. You're constantly wanting to lean in more, get more from them. And what's the worst part of all of this is typically the avoidant and anxious attachment styles are the most common relationships, which can really lead to this cycle going back to of unhealed trauma where you're attracting people that are attracted to your low vibration and your low frequency. So this results in constantly seeking some external component to feel like you love yourself, whichever, if you are an avoidant or if you're anxious, it typically results in constantly seeking an external component to feel like you love yourself, whether that be a new guy who tells you exactly what you want to hear, or the new clothes that you just believe you deserve, or the friends that you don't really vibe with, but they make you feel wanted. Because you're constantly, whether you're anxious, you're constantly wanting to have some kind of external validation, whether that be with a new relationship and wanting to just fall in love quickly and get married and be connected all the time, or if you're more avoidant, you're going to ignore those relationships more and dive more into that external of buying things for yourself or looking for the external components and validation, which it just continues this cycle of unhealed trauma. And that's all it really stems from. But what is lying under all of that is the realization that what you crave from others, what you crave into your life that makes you feel most aligned with the girl who would love herself or the man that would love himself, is what you need to give yourself. And I'll say that again. What you crave from others is what you need to give yourself. You don't need a guy or a girl to point out all your best features and best parts of yourself. Why? Because you already know what they are. You just want the validation from someone else. And you don't need the clothes that won't even fit into your closet just so you can feel a bit better today or feel a little bit disconnected or, stay back from those relationships to get more validation from purchases, because it's you that your body needs. Your body needs the intention and the thought, not the clothes, to make you feel a little bit better about yourself. And you don't need the friends that make you feel wanted, because your own mind and body are screaming to be heard and validated, especially when these friends, like I said, that you don't really vibe with, but they make you feel wanted. Everything you think you need doesn't even make you happy or feel loved. It makes you feel sedated. And everything you actually need comes from you. The work, the discomfort, the difficulties, the suppression of emotions and unhealed trauma, the physical movement, the nutritional support. All you are doing in seeking these external validations or external components is simply a suppression of what is really going on inside and what you are actually supposed to be giving yourself. This is self-love. And when you learn self-love is a requirement to please your mind and body and not an option, your manufactured state of external reliance becomes muted by the conscious awareness that you are connected. You are no longer blocked by emotions that are suppressed literally within you, and you are connected and aligned to the person that goes from, I just need to love myself, to the key thing of self-love, which is loving self. And this being who you love onto without limitation or expectations, as it has simply become a part of you. So that's really when you dive deep into what is stopping you from loving yourself, it's you. That's it. And when you can simplify it that much and just start with these little steps of, okay, it's time to disconnect from some certain relationships because those no longer serve me. It's time to stop buying the clothes that make my body feel good momentarily and actually do things that my body needs. It's time to stop surrounding myself with people that just fill my mind with limiting beliefs and self-doubt, and instead take the time to recognize where these emotions are coming from and why you are needing this validation. But essentially, what I really just want to emphasize, and I'll say it again, is anything that you are craving consciously or subconsciously, anything that you crave, you are actually craving from yourself. You may think that something external will make you happy, but I promise you that it's all stemming from the internal. And you can even think about that in terms of your environment. If you are craving some kind of decluttering, like you just want to declutter your house, it's time to declutter your mind first. If you are wanting a big change in careers, first figure out what needs to go on personally before professionally. Always tune back into you before you tune into what's on the outside. And that's what self-love is taking the time to love onto self before you love onto any other. And that is how you are loving onto yourself. And that's how you love self. That's today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And we will see you on the next episode. I'll leave you with this, a friendly reminder to not only be kind to others, but also to your beautiful, amazing self.